I want to talk a little bit about collaborative problem solving tonight. This is something, and here in Ottawa we've become one of the hot spots for collaborative problem solving. The other one is the state of Oregon. And here in Ottawa we have every major organization that's involved in children or youth mental health is familiar with collaborative problem solving. It comes from the book The Explosive Child by Ross Greene. What we found over time, and with some research, I would add, is that it's an effective approach not just for explosive kids, but for all kinds of kids as well, in terms of resolving conflict. You get a parent and child each identifying their own needs in the conflict, and there's a little bit of digging around. It's not quite as simple, like I said, with this adolescent and his mom. His need really had to do with fairness. Her need was, she believed it was not unreasonable that someone contribute to the running of the household if they were living there, and frankly she needed his help around the house. So there were the needs. A little bit of, and you got to watch that you don't do the drive-by empathy. Yeah, I get it. Okay, let's move on. No, there's got to be a little genuine remembering what it was like to walk in those shoes. The nice part about conflict between parents and adolescents being almost a developmental imperative is that most of us can probably remember the occasional discussion we had with our own parents that may have involved a little tension or acrimony. And we can, when you think about that empathy, that can be quite helpful. And we want to problem solve it. In fact, we want to invite the adolescent to problem solve. You see, after you've done the empathy piece, yeah, is there a way you can see that you might need to get some help around here? Your need to have some sense of fairness. Is there a solution here that might meet both sets of needs? This young man that I saw came up with a solution. He said, I could get paid for doing chores. Okay, now in some houses that might be a non-starter. Some houses it's like, no, I don't believe in paying my kids to do chores. Some houses it might be fine. I didn't know, and I wasn't going to make that rule. I've got other things that to worry about than trying to make that rule. So I turned to Mom. I said, is that okay with you? She said, sure. I stopped paying them allowance months ago when they stopped doing any of the chores around here, so I'm happy to pay them to do chores. I said, is that good with you? Yeah. So we had a solution, and then we did an experiment. Let's see if it works. Okay, did they live happily ever after? Not yet, but there's a lot less conflict, okay, with a solution like that. And they talk about different plans in collaborative problem solving. Plan A, this is the adult plan, this is my way or the highway. Okay, Plan A is sometimes quite appropriate with kids. Can someone think of a time when you're going to use Plan A with your child, where there's no discussion? Safety, exactly. Yeah. Drinking and driving, no discussion. Impaired driving, like getting high and driving, absolutely not. You have a 4-year-old, are you going to talk with them about the relative merits of running into traffic without looking both ways first? No. We're going to grab them by the scruff of the neck and pull them out of traffic and have a pretty serious word with them about what's just happened. That's where your brainstem really gets going when it talks like that. Plan C, this is where the child gets to pick a solution, or sometimes we call it picking battles, and this can be quite appropriate as well. Okay. An example I use generally is I think I talked about how in our own past we may have had experiences of conflict or tension with our own parents. My generation, we fought tooth and nail over the length of our hair. Okay. Now I hear a few snickers out there, and lots of us ended up with receding hairlines and little shiny spots back here. And we realized, it probably really wasn't worth it. And so maybe Plan C for some families might be hair. Yeah, you're going to get a mohawk and dye it pink. I may not find it quite so appealing as you do, but I can live with it. For some families, no. They'd say, no, that's not a Plan C. And that's okay, too. But I'm just using that as an example. And Plan B, this is involving both sets of needs. And we've got to work towards some kind of solution that gets input from both. I won't go into too much detail on this because I am a little bit mindful of time and I want to leave some time for questions at the end. But there is, the book, The Explosive Child, is available at your library, or I'll give you a website you can go to as well, those of you with pencils. It's called thinkkids.org, thinkkids.org, and that has lots of useful information for parents as well.
Repeat the second website, please.
Oh yes, yeah. Thinkkids.org. THINKKIDS, 2 Ks in there, .org. But we really take them through that, this part is important. So you're asking the Seinfeld question, an example would be with this family, I've noticed that, when it comes to getting chores done around here, that it often creates a lot of turmoil for both of us. What's up with that? Now, my guess is that if you ask that question, and best to ask this at a time where people aren't all wound up, because remember, we want to stay in the smart part of our brains, and if we're already wound up about it, we're not there probably. So everything's calm when we're asking this question. Probably the reaction is going to be, oh great, we're having a nice day and you decide to throw that in my face. Thanks a lot. Okay? And I can understand that. If I'm the kid, I get that. What we have to do is kind of reassure them, go, wait a second here. Now this isn't about me whining about you not doing chores. I know I do that lots. But this is just about trying to figure out if there's a way. I know, like if I suggest a solution, it doesn't go so well, and if I leave it up to you, we don't seem to get them done either. I'm just thinking we need to do things a little differently. Maybe we can put our heads together and come up with a different solution. So lots of reassurance. Why do we do that? Partly to keep them in the smart part of their brain. Right? We don't want them getting all wound up here, but also because, we are working towards a solution. This isn't about them being in trouble anymore. This is about trying to figure out a solution. The thing about collaborative problem solving is that we avoid the script. Okay? With alligator stupid, we go back and we revert to old patterns of behavior, and that's our script. Okay? How many parents here swore up and down they would never say to their child or preface a statement to their child with, when I was your age? Come on, let's see the hands. All right. So now how many parents then, and I'm including myself in this category, I swore I'd never start off with, and I haven't. I've never started a sentence to my kids with, when I was your age. How many parents here have started a sentence with, if I said that to my dad, right? We're just dressing up. Honestly, folks, we're just dressing up when I was your age. That's all that is. If all your friends jumped off a cliff, that was my favorite. So your teenage daughter comes to you and says, don't wait up for me, I'm going drinking in a hall tonight. Okay? The script says, over my dead body. Right? Her script then says that could be arranged. And then we're off, aren't we? We're going back and forth, and we are way down here in the alligator stupid range of our brains, and we're in big trouble. Right? If on the other hand, your daughter says, don't wait up, I'm going drinking in Hull tonight, and you say, I'm not saying yes and I'm not saying no. She'll go nuts. That's not in the script anywhere. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. At the same time, you'll be going crazy saying, I can't believe that idiot Ritchie convinced me to say something. But you're staying on, you're keeping in the smart part of your brain. Folks, there's no place to go that's stupid that's going to get you out of this hole I've just dug for you. But yeah, it's true. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. And I can honestly say that. Now, again, in the interest of full disclosure, my daughters haven't said that to me yet. We'll see. I may get back to you on this one. But I can honestly say, I'm not saying yes and I'm not saying no, and then try and figure out what's going on here. Well, I might be saying yes in 3 years when you're of legal drinking age, or when you're living independently, and something like that. I'm not going to spell out the fine print to her, but I want you to know that I'm being genuine when I say I'm not saying yes and I'm not saying no. Okay. Does it work? I'll just go over. Collaborative problem solving. I'll do one quick little study that shows how powerful this model is. They trained. This is, I think, in Massachusetts. They trained. There was a locked unit that had adolescents with both mental health and criminal justice problems. So we're talking about some very, very hard to serve youth. Okay, probably the toughest group to work with. In the 6 months before they trained staff in the use of this model, they had 281 restraints. I hope I have the numbers right. Yes, I do. 281 restraints. And in 6 months. And a restraint in this state was defined as something that lasted over 5 minutes. And, okay, so they bring in the model. In the 9 months after they brought the model in, 1 restraint. Okay? That's telling you something. If they can work with those kinds of kids, those tough to serve kids, as parents, we can do it too.